Hello, I'm raising my hand to let you know that I'm here, and I'm present, and I'm, centered. And I'm focused, and I'm here to deliver to you the greatest podcast in the multiverse. I don't know if there's a multiverse or not. I know there's a universe, so I'll just keep it to the universe. The greatest podcast in the universe. Let's talk about beverages. You notice that beverages tend to be served either really cold or super hot. Beverages almost never get served warm, like a lukewarm temperature beverage. I've heard in Europe some places they serve beer at room temperature, but I've never seen that myself. So that means it doesn't really exist, right? Because I haven't seen it. I've never experienced it, so it can't be real, right? But in America, it's like everything's either super hot or super cold. Everything's so hot that they have to put warnings on the lids, right? Like, warning, hot beverage. They don't give you a warning for a cold beverage, though, for some reason. Even though I think it could be dangerous as well. Like, if you're sensitive to cold, maybe you get frostbite easily, or maybe you get brain freeze really easily. Severe brain freeze is really bad for you. They should put warnings on really cold beverages too, Or your hand could get stuck to the beverage if it's cold enough. Kind of like if you put your tongue on a pole in the wintertime. Your tongue could get stuck there. That's a big problem. Like, your hand could get stuck to this beverage cup, and then you'll be like, have this beverage stuck on your hand the whole day, trying to get it off. But anyway, lukewarm beverages, right? Why isn't this an option? Is it like a health code thing? Maybe bacteria starts to grow when it's too warm? Like, if it's not hot or cold, then, that's the temperature at which microbes start to grow? Is that why? But I don't think so, because a lot of beverages are stored at warm temperatures, right? And then they just put them into the refrigerator. So I don't see why they can't just give it to you at the same temperature as what they store it as, like in the storage room, right? So maybe it's because Americans like things to be extreme, right? Like, we like to be liberal or conservative, right? We like to be capitalists or communists, we like to be gay or straight. So it's like we like our beverages hot or cold. There's no in between. But lukewarm beverages are actually really good for you because your body assimilates them better in terms of temperature. Your body's temperature's, a little bit warmer than room temperature. But a hot beverage is way hotter than room temperature, and a cold beverage is way colder than room temperature. So then your body has to, make the liquid in your stomach the same temperature, and it takes a while. And it could be a shock to your system, right? Putting tons of cold or hot liquid into your body suddenly. A lukewarm beverage would solve that problem. You could hit the road running or whatever. Hit the ground running, as they say. And lukewarm beverages can be pretty delicious, actually. Because, it's like when it hits your mouth doesn't say, well, what's going on here? And then you could taste the flavors better too that way. Because at first, when you put a hot or cold beverage in your mouth, all you're doing is sensing the temperature at first, right? You're not even really tasting it. But a lukewarm beverage is closer to the temperature of the inside of your mouth. So then you could taste the beverage better. Like, you could get the coffee flavors or the soda flavors or the tea or the water even. The flavors that are in there, you can sense them better when it's at a warm temperature. So I'm a big advocate for, lukewarm beverages. And I think that should be an option when you go to a restaurant or a store. They should have a warm beverage option. Or not even, it doesn't even have to be warm, it could just be room temperature, which is I don't know, what is that? Is that considered lukewarm? I think that's a good option though, and definitely should be offered more. Because as of now, I don't think it's offered at all that I can think of. Maybe in Europe, where they do things differently, but in America, it's just not a thing. So let's get this message out there. It's good for our health, tastes good, and also you could save on a lot of costs like refrigeration and heating. Like heating up a beverage takes a lot of energy, like, either electricity or natural gas. And cooling a beverage takes a lot of energy too. You gotta refrigerate that sucker. Or maybe even there's frozen stuff involved, like ice or, slushy, whatever, ice cream. There's a lot of electricity going on there. So, yeah, let's just spread this message. I hope you help me do that, because I can't do it alone. No man is an island, as they say. I'm gonna need your help. So I'm enlisting you for that right now. Thank you. There's the whole stereotype of men buying sports cars when they have a midlife crisis, right? Or getting a really young girlfriend. I don't know, suddenly getting into like extreme sports or something. But the sports car thing is the one I want to talk about. Why do so many men like sports cars? You have to be a car person in order for that to be your midlife crisis? Is like buying a Corvette or something? Seems like a very American phenomenon, right? Like boomers who grew up loving cars and just thirsting over cars, like, ooh, I really want that Mustang or that Corvette or Camaro or Trans Am, whatever. IROC Z, do you remember those? Those are pretty badass, actually. They're kind of like a poor man's Corvette or something. But anyway, yeah, the sports car. Interesting phenomenon, isn't it? What does that exactly do? If you drive a sports car and you're having a midlife crisis, does that somehow bring you back to your youth? But what if you didn't even have one when you were young? How could you be re-experiencing your youth with something you never had as a youth? Or maybe you did have one when you were in high school, but then you sold it to get a more sensible family car. And now you want that sports car back because it makes you feel cool to drive a really powerful and fast car and do like donuts and stuff like that, right? And race people. And you just think cars are cool, and then when you're driving one, it makes you cool by extension, right? Personally, I'm not too impressed by someone's car. I don't say, wow, you have a cool car, so I think you're cool too. I don't usually do that. Maybe some people do. Maybe car people are like really impressed by other people's cars and they like jerk each other off about it or something. I don't know how that works because I'm not really into that culture or that community. I don't know what's going on over there. But maybe that's what happens. And I don't know, maybe they think, hey, if I drive this sports car, I can attract a partner. People love fancy cars. Like if they see me, this middle-aged dude who's obviously having a midlife crisis, driving this really fancy sports car, they're gonna get so horny and want to like have sex with me, right? And all the young people are gonna say, whoa, did you see that old guy's car? That was so cool. Maybe that's the reason behind it. Maybe these are the scenarios playing out in their heads. That's the rationale behind it. Because maybe someone explained this to me, I just don't get the whole car thing in general. But the midlife crisis, I'm gonna buy a sports car phenomenon. It's pretty interesting to me. And it's pretty funny to me too. And I want some more insight on it. It'd be much appreciated. Finally, let's talk about how flatulence or gassiness can affect people's moods. Like say you just got chewed out by your boss. And obviously they were in a bad mood, right? Because they chewed you out about something that's not really that big of a deal, or maybe it's a mistake that people make all the time at your job, right? But then your boss really gave you an earful about it, and you're like, what's wrong? Why is the boss acting like this? Maybe the boss is really gassy. Maybe they are lactose intolerant and they don't even know about it, and they have a freaking latte every morning, and it just gets their gas going. Like, they're just bloated and gassy, and they really need to fart, but they can't let it out, so they're just in a really bad mood about it. So they take it out on, their subordinates, their employees. They say, "Hey, come into my office now. I need to talk to you." You're like, "Well, what did I do?" And then they freaking, go after you about something, and you're like, "What's going on? Why is the boss like this? It's taking out their anger on me for something that I'm not, involved with." Maybe there's trouble at home. Maybe the boss is arguing with his wife, or maybe his kids are acting up, or maybe he's having a midlife crisis and he wants to buy a sports car. Those are the things that come to mind, right? But a lot of times, that's not really the case. The reason people are in a bad mood a lot of times is because they're super fucking gassy and they need to fart. But they're in public, or they're at work. They're somewhere where it would be inappropriate to fart. So they just hold it all in as much as possible, and they're just getting super bloated and gassy and like uncomfortable. And maybe the gas is even leaking out a little bit, so it kind of stinks. And it just, makes them, puts them in a really foul mood. And that's actually what's happening a lot of times. Like road rage, one of the main causes is actually flatulence and gassiness. And, just encounters with like Karens. You see all those viral videos online of women or even men sometimes, just being total assholes to like service people. Or just random people being racist to them or something. That whole phenomenon, a lot of times, can be explained by, gassiness. These people could be undiagnosed lactose intolerant people. Or maybe they had a really, gas-inducing meal. Something like a lot of cheese in it, or a lot of preservatives, or a lot of just oily, greasy, bad stuff that made them gassy. Maybe beans even. The magical fruit that makes you gassy. That could possibly be a big reason for it as well. But just remember that next time, you run into someone who's in a bad mood. And it'll help you understand them better and have more empathy for them. And, maybe it'll help you gauge your response better so you don't blow up back at them and just make the situation worse, right? You could just say, "Look, buddy, I know you're gassy, and I know it's putting you in a bad mood. I've been there. I've done that. And I've taken it out on people too, who weren't even related to what's going on. They didn't make me gassy. What I drank or what I ate did. Or maybe stress caused it. And I know that's what you're going through right now, buddy, so I'm with you, buddy. I feel you. Just don't take it out on me, alright? And the world will be a better place if everyone is more understanding like that." That is really important for us to keep in mind as we go about our days, interacting with people, various strangers, family members, coworkers, associates. Before you fire off that angry email, maybe instead you should go to the bathroom and relieve yourself. Sit on the toilet and rip a few farts. Then come back to that email, and maybe the whole tone of it will change completely, so it's no longer an angry email, but a friendly email. And that'll help you build business connections and friendships, and smooth things over better when things are getting a little rocky, Flatulence, gassiness, these things are kind of a hidden pandemic. Next to the COVID-19 pandemic, and now the other one that's rising, monkeypox. It's like this third silent pandemic that people don't want to talk about, but it's there. it's brewing under the surface, like, figuratively and literally, like in people's guts. It's just building up, and it's like a ticking time bomb, but that we need to address as a society if we want to move forward. Thank you for listening again this week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.